Hello, I'm Nicole Pauling, and I thought I'd talk to you about why you and online learning might be the perfect match. It could be love. Whatever you love, someone else will pay to learn, no matter what that thing is. I guarantee if you love it, someone else loves it too, and they're looking for someone just like you to teach them more about it. Whether it's animals, gaming, math, science, history, reading, cosplaying, art, aviation, whatever it is that you love, there are students who are looking for the right teacher. Now, there are a lot of teachers who are teaching the same exact things, and that's okay because each teacher is going to have their own unique flavor that they bring to their lessons and to their classes. So while each teacher might have something unique and amazing about them, they're not going to be the right fit for every student. And that's why we need numerous teachers even teaching the exact same things. Because every teacher is not the right fit and every student isn't the right fit. So we have to find each other, and it's easier with the more teachers out there. Now, there are multiple kinds of online teaching opportunities. There are online schools that are just like your regular brick and mortar schools, this is schools that you go and teach in, your K through 12 schools. These are regular education or specialized schools. They're cyber programs, cyber schools. So these would all fall under your regular guidelines. You need to have your licensing. You need to follow standards. You need to be teaching unit plans in the right way. So these are just real, regular online or regular school programs, just they happen to be in an online environment. There are existing programs out there that pay an hourly rate. I had one reach out to me last week, but their pay rate is $20 an hour. They do provide the curriculum to you, which is really nice and convenient. Um, but if you're willing to write your own curriculum, you could certainly make a lot more money than that. You can subcontract. So there are organizations and platforms out there that are looking for more teachers to teach the specific content that they have created. For instance, there are gaming organizations out there, right? They teach D&D. Teach D&D? Yes, that is correct. They run D&D games multiple times a week, sometimes, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 games a week. And so sometimes they have to hire other teachers to help them fill those time slots or even teach 3 or 4 classes at the same exact time. So these organizations hire teachers to subcontract and work for them. Now, as a subcontractor, you're not a paid employee. You are self employed who happens to be working for someone else. And the last form is self employed. Literally, you create your own curriculum, you decide what it is you want to teach and what you love, and you teach that thing and you find the platforms on which you are going to teach those things. Now, here are some things that are pros and cons about self employed online teaching. So, pros, you get to be as creative as you want. There is unlimited earning potential. I knew someone who was making $60,000 a month, not a year, a month, teaching online. You teach what you love. I know people who teach gaming. I know people who teach video editing. I know people who teach life skills, and they're all making money doing this online. You have flexibility. Need to go to a doctor appointment? Just don't schedule a class. Um, you have convenience. You do it from the convenience of your own home. I didn't even have to drive and leave my house for 2 years. Uh, there's a lot of possibilities. You can have an unending range of the things that you love and the things that you love to teach. So literally, I went, "What do I love?" And that's what I teach. You get to write your own curriculum. You have a lot of versatility. You get to put it the way that you want to put it. You don't have to use the standards unless you choose to. There are some parents who will pay for their children to have an education that uses the standards, uh, but not everybody is looking for that. It can be a great side hustle or a primary income. If it's a primary income, that usually takes time. It's not something that happens instantaneously. You aren't going to be self employed and suddenly you are making a full time income because honestly, no one's ever heard of you. They hadn't heard of me either. Some cons. There are no guaranteed incomes. I have met many teachers who tried to go online. They just were not successful and they end up leaving it very quickly because you have to be able to pay your bills. There are no benefits. You have to run a business. So you're answering emails, you're doing transfers, you're issuing refunds, you're tracking your own income, you are monitoring your feedback, you are interacting with every single parent in every single class. You are you are everything. You are the person who is advertising. You are the person who is setting up your classes. You're the person writing your curriculum. You are everything. This is your business. You are running it. There are no tax withholdings, so you have to keep track of everything and do your taxes yourself at the end of the year. The laws regarding self employment are complicated, particularly each different state and each different country has its own laws regarding self employment. It takes time to build your clientele. You are not going to launch your class and tomorrow be completely successful. It sadly does not work that way. I wish that it did. For some people, writing your own curriculum is a benefit. For some people, it's a negative. There are absolutely teachers out there who hate being self employed and teaching for themselves because they absolutely need a curriculum that's provided to them. Uh, in fact, for those of you who are like, oh, I'll just use this site that I was using in my regular brick and mortar school, you can't do that. Those things are only meant for public schools. Those are not meant for personal use, and you will be breaking copyright laws and could go to jail or pay large fines. So, when you are self employed and teaching online, you are writing your own curriculum. Every time a parent complains, it can hurt your income, especially if that complaint comes in the form of a review. So you have to learn to be very, very gracious. You need to learn to not challenge parents on challenging behaviors and to try to deal with it internally because those parents absolutely will rake you over the coals and they can ruin your business quickly. It is easiest just to refund those classes and take the loss. You will have extra time spent running the business and the communication sides of the business because it's just a lot of time and it's a lot of work. In fact, when I finish this video, I have to answer the 14 emails that came in since class started an hour and a half ago. So, some words of advice: teach what you love, be unique. So, search the site that you're looking to teach on and find something no one else is teaching, or find a unique way to teach something that other people are teaching. You need to be unique. Be willing to take risks. Business for yourself is always a risk. Be passionate about what you do. Be fun. Learn about advertising. Learn about marketing. Start small and build up. Make really good introduction videos for your classes. Write great class descriptions. Don't be too wordy, don't be too short. There is a middle happy ground that you are looking to hit. You really want to write as if you're writing the back of a book cover, right? Something that drags someone in and engages them. Have a plan for while you're growing your business. For instance, if you quit your job tomorrow and you have $5,000 in the bank and you have not started your classes yet, that $5,000 is going to run out really, really super quick. And if you're not instantaneously successful, are you going to be able to survive? Most of the time, that's not. So you want to make sure that you're building this as you have some sort of other support. And make sure when you get your prices on there, when you create your classes, that you price it competitively. A lot of people automatically think of themselves as cheap. As teachers, we are trained to think of ourselves as cheap, as inexpensive, as not really worthy of a great paycheck. But I would ask you to flip that script around and to think of yourself as valuable and worthwhile, and that parents want to pay for quality. And if you price yourself at $2, they are going to look at you as cheap because that's what you're selling yourself as. So do not price yourself cheaply, price yourself competitively. So that goes back to looking at what other people are doing. Here are some online platforms for you to look at. Each one has a different way that you have to go through applying to their platform, right? So these are all time consuming processes. None of these are going to happen in like a day or 2 days. Generally, they take weeks. Sometimes they take months, depending on the platform. OutSchool, DIY, All School, Learned Live, Your Teachable Moment, Synthesis, that's the one that's being run by Elon Musk. I tried to get into that one. Really difficult, but those of you who have science mathy brains might be a fantastic fit for you. Facebook Great for those of you who might teach computer programming and those similar kinds of classes. And finally, you can start your own platform. I know a lot of teachers who teach from their own Zoom. They set up their own classes, they have their own clientele. And the benefit of that is you keep 100% of what you make. Um, and then, of course, you take out your taxes. Other things like OutSchool, they take 30% right off the top, and then you still have to pay your taxes on top of that. So, it might look like you're making a ton of money, but then once you look at OutSchool's cut or DIY's cut or All Schools cut, and then you take out your taxes on top of that, you might end up seeing that you're really not where you needed to be. So always look at what you need to make and price yourself based on that. And reach out with any questions.